So the AP rankings came out this week. They announced their AP rankings for college football. And for some reason, Ohio State is number 2. I didn't know that was a thing that could happen this year, but they have Ohio State at number 2. The AP rankings are just bizarre at this point. Like, you have teams that are not going to be playing football ranked in the top 25. As a matter of fact, included in the top 10, you have number 2 Ohio State, you have number 7 Penn State, you have number 9 Oregon. 3 teams in the top 10 are not playing this year. And when you expand it out and look even further, Washington's in there at number 12. You got Michigan at number 16, USC at number 17, Minnesota at 19. So there is just like Iowa.
It's going to be real awkward come playoff time when they're all undefeated. And they're up at the top of the rankings, but can't be in the playoffs.
Well, that's what I was wondering.
But Scott, that's exactly what it is, though. You understand how this works, right? Like, this is all really just the things that were below the surface rising up in the way that the polls in the preseason are built to gamify things, to elevate the SEC and William Sweeney because he's in their pocket. That's all it is so that in situations where teams would have played the Ohio States, the Wisconsins, the Penn States, whatever, they get an automatic win against a top 5 team. And then, then their ranking goes up.
And the SEC is the only smart conference at this point. Never thought I'd say that. But they're the only ones that have figured out later losses hurt more. So pack your schedule early on with your big-time conference games so that you lose, and it's like, oh, I just lost to number 3, so it doesn't hurt me that bad, and you don't fall very far. And then at the end of the year, you play Little Sisters of the Poor before you have your one rivalry game that gets you into the like, the SEC has figured out how to game this system. But
also, why are we always giving the Little Sisters of a Poor a pass? Because clearly you can't be the poor and get paid $750,000 to get your ass kicked by
Here's
Alabama.
the thing about Little Sisters of the Poor. They will schedule anybody. They play everybody, and I respect the hell out of that. That's a team that will play anybody. They play Bama, they play Notre Dame, they play everybody. And Little Sisters of the Poor plays everybody. You gotta give them credit. Before we get into our rankings, I want to know,
never forget App State, baby.
Is this the year that we get a group of 5 team into the playoffs? Considering you don't have a Big Ten champion to get in, the Pac-12 champion wasn't getting in anyways because it's the Pac-12.
I mean, let's be honest here, right? Exactly.
But and the fact that Notre Dame is playing in the ACC, so they're going to have to play Clemson and potentially play them again in a ACC championship game. That's going to knock out. Well, but that's going to knock out one of those too. So you have ACC champion, SEC champion, Big 12
or does
champion.
It set up an Alabama-Auburn rematch situation?
Well, I mean, I feel like that's what everybody will expect is 2 SEC teams to get in. But do you think this is the year?
No,
because
dude, I'm talking about Notre Dame and Clemson. Fuck the SEC. They get one. What? This is serious
Scott
question.
looking around is my favorite. The odd look to the side. But do you think, like,
what group of 5 conferences are still playing?
The AAC. The AAC is still playing. And UC and UCF are both in the top 25. So they have a legit.
What other Power 5s? Or are we just saying AAC?
I'm just saying AAC. Just if there is a group of 5 that gets in.
I think the most important question is, what do the rankings look like in week 2? For the teams that aren't playing.
Right, do they just drop them?
Or do they just stay? Like, they're just like, well they didn't lose.
That's normally what happens when they have a bye. They either, like, move up ahead of somebody who lost ahead of them. Like, I want Alabama to lose the first game, and then Ohio State becomes, or I guess Clemson is number 1. Clemson loses their first game, and then Ohio State becomes number 1. There are 21 people. 21 people voted for Ohio State to be number 1.
No, sure. This is what it's going to be. So Clemson is going to play their first game on a Saturday, right? And so Thursday, they have their tests, and a bunch of dudes test positive, and like 60 of the guys on the team have to sit out. So they lose the game because they only field like 40-something people, and they lose the first game, but they stay at number 1 because you know what's going to happen? They're like, well, the COVID got them.
Yeah.
But they're still a really talented football team.
If they
That's
had,
how it's going to go down.
If they had everybody, they would have won that game.
If they had the whole squad.
I love rankings.
Right? Like, you know, what's going to happen is it's going to come out that basically the rankings are done by them simulating it all on NCAA football, which we don't get to play, but they use for the rankings. And then they only adjust after the fact to be like, nah, that one's fucked up. We got to fix that. But everything else, cool. We're good. We don't have to actually watch these real games.
Just bring back the BCS for one season. Why the hell not?
Sure, let's screw it at this point. Let's do.
You can't fix your schedule at this point, right? Like, it is what it is almost.
Right. Let's do our rankings because we are going to do. Here's the thing about the rankings. They don't matter. Like the NCAA does not. I don't know if you guys know this. The NCAA does not recognize a single national champion. So any organization could technically name a national champion and the NCAA could potentially recognize it. Like that's why there's an AP national champion. That's why there's the
Yankees continue to suck.
That's why there's an AP national champion. That's why there's like the USA Today national champion. Like you could potentially have a format that gets picked up and the NCAA recognizes that as a national champion. So I think what we need to do is start doing our own polls. We're not going to do a top 25 list because that's way too much. So we're going to do our top 10. Drew, we talked about this before the show. We huddled up. We broke down schedules. We looked at depth charts. We examined all of the data. Drew, who is our number 10 this week? Preseason number 10.
This is us embarking upon a journey that will lead to a Craft Brewed Sports national champion.
Yes.
We are going college football season.
But ladies and gentlemen, this is unprecedented. We have never made our own top 10, so this is the first time in podcast history the Craft Brewed Sports top 10
200
is being released.
200 plus
All
episodes.
All 7 of you are witnessing history.
This is a big deal. This is a big deal.
No, sorry. All 4 of you, because we're all watching, are witnessing history before your eyes.
All right, Drew, who is number 10?
Coming in here at number 10 is, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, Michigan. Not the school. Not that school up north. You know, not those pricks in the navy blue and that yellow and that asshole with his slacks. No. The state of Michigan is coming at number 10. Like, look, let's be honest. Detroit was a COVID hotbed, but you know what? They did it better than anyone else could at the time. Flint, you still don't really want to get into the water there, so they're still selling bottled water by the millions. And realistically, the best thing to come out of the season is that Jim Harbaugh will not lose to Ohio State this year. So because of all of those reasons, Michigan, the state, both peninsulas, the upper and the lower, I don't know if this is the right way or whatever, but UP for life, baby.
Congratulations, Michigan. Number 10
number 10
on the initial Craft Brewed Sports college football rankings. Number 9 this year in our preseason top 10, the transfer portal. Listen, everybody, this is going to be a big factor in this college football season. We already have a lineman from UCLA who is he's entered the transfer portal. He's hoping to play in the ACC or SEC this season. It's just going to keep happening as we ramp up to the season. The transfer portal is going to take down more Pac-12 and big teams than tattoos or paying Reggie Bush. Transfer portal number 9. Scott, who's number 8?
Well, coming in at a solid number 8 is yards. And that's not the amount of yards that are going to be racked up this season because, let's be honest, this will be the lowest amount of yards in college football history based on the fact that there are a whole bunch of teams not playing.
Big 12 still playing. You're good.
Oh, well, yeah, that's fine. But even still, even the 200 yards a week that the Big Ten gathers. But we've got the yards, which are the front and back parts of all of our yards. That's right, because we're going to be able to do yard work this Saturdays. I expect championship yard work to come out of every single house on every single street. That's where the real competitions are going to be on Saturday. Your neighbor, Bob, who's over there beating your ass because he trimmed his hedges at 8 o'clock in the morning. And you didn't get out there till 3. And I've got no excuse. I've got no excuse because Ohio State isn't playing that noon game. Get your ass out there and fix up your yards. Yards are coming in at number 8 this week.
Get them green stained New Balances ready to roll. Yards at number 8. Drew, who's number 7?
What I really don't understand is how Bob can be that fat and still trim those hedges every day like that.
He does work. He does work.
I will say this though, really, let's keep an eye out on yards because they could sneak up if that side yard gets put on point. So just keep an eye on them to move up quick and move up early as things go down early.
Yards have a great trajectory ahead of them this college football season.
They've got opportunities.
They've got a soft schedule on the back end. That's for
right.
sure.
They do.
Exactly.
They really do.
Because I mean, you stop paying attention to them once it gets cold outside, but the early part of their schedule, that's where they're beating ass.
It's rough. I mean, and not only, let's face it, the heat normally takes out yards anyway. So it's going to be tough for them in the early going. But if they can get through,
watering and doing stuff, like they're looking better now than they ever have.
If they could get through the first part of the season, they stand a chance.
Speaking of which, wives and kids are coming in at number 7 here, and I expect them to hold tight, but I just don't know that they have that top end ceiling they need to make that playoff push. There's a lot of opportunities still, but with us all being at home, with college football not being on the TV all the time, with pro football being truncated and probably compressed down, there's going to be a lot less drunk assholes rolling around. Mm-hmm. So honestly, wives and kids may have a real solid showing this season. Keep a watch out for how family time on the weekends and maybe even Monday nights might spike them to be a top 4 team coming to the latter end of the season.
Could be what's
wives and kids at number 7.
What could hurt wives and kids though is the fact that now husbands are required to be around their wives and kids more, and the wives and kids could get sick of them a lot more. So
and they realize that dad really is a dick and he should drink.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, I mean, when they're taking care of their yards, I mean, how much time are they really spending?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
See, that's different though, Scott,
I feel like at the end of the season, yards is going to have.
That's a very good point.
Over wives.
Well, and yards and wives and kids, they've got that conference championship game down. Look, the rankings sort themselves out at the end.
It's
okay,
true, yeah.
Eventually,
but that's why we put them next to
they're
each
right
other.
There. They're right there.
Because they're equal, and we'll see how things play
Look,
out.
and this isn't a dad bias on the show, okay? This is just how the rankings. We looked into this. We studied the data. This is what it is.
We pulled Joe. He abstained.
He did. Very weird. He just read the tweet and then didn't respond. Number 6 this preseason ranking, Mississippi coaches. And by that, we are talking about Leach and Lane, 2 favorites here on this show. We love these guys. That's conferences.
The buddy cop movie I want to see.
It really is. And thank you for stealing the joke at the end of the description. I appreciate that.
Oh, son of a bee. I didn't even see that. Oh, son of a bitch.
Other conferences are shutting down. Leach and Lane.
Laugh.
Leach and Lane still get a chance to go after Saban and the rest of the SEC. They're going to be pulling in those guys from the transfer portal. Mike Leach came out and said he's got the cure for hiccups already. You just take a teaspoon of sugar. Look, these guys
the fuck is he, Mary Poppins?
Exactly. These guys they're just constant content. Between Leach pulling on Lane's mask and an event encouraging Mississippi residents to take things seriously, to their outspoken nature, these two are going to get a reality TV show before this is all over. Mississippi coaches, number 6.
I mean, Lane Kiffin is the official head coach of Craft Brewed Sports.
He really is. He really is. I mean, you got to love Lane.
Well, not that I would win, but we didn't vote on that.
We didn't have to. He's the official.
He's not at USC anymore. You can like him.
Well, I was going to say
he's not at USC.
2 of you, one of me, and Joe abstained, so I'm fucked anyways.
You're out.
But I just want to make it known.
Scott, who's number 5 in our college football rankings?
Well, football is still going to happen in some capacity, and I guess that means that college game day is still happening. At least that's what they're saying. So everybody's still going to get to see the gang come to the city, and Lee Corso is going to be along with them. Now, this
Lee Corpso, because that's
I was going to say Corso's been struggling for the past few years, and that was before COVID. So imagine Corso going city to city in the hotbed of the South, where they're probably going to be for all of these games, because if you're limited in the Big Ten, that means they'll just be like, all right, I guess we're just going to the SEC. So they're probably just going to hang out down there where COVID
the northernmost point would be South Bend.
Yeah. And they won't do that. Likely. And they won't do that because those games are going to be on NBC. So they will never go to a Notre Dame home game.
But Corso is from that, Dick Clark club where, it's just like, man, you think every year, Lee Corso's probably not going to last much longer, but he keeps hanging on. So right now we got him at number 5, hanging on through COVID and making it through this season.
Look,
at
man,
least alive.
2020 already took
alive.
Regis from us. They can't take Regis and Lee. There's no way.
And that's exactly what Corso was probably thinking. As soon as Regis croaked, he's like, I'm good. I'm making it to 2021 at least.
You know what? Mookie's hot bets right here. Put down a stack on Corso making it to 2021. Now, his ass going to die at 12:01 a.m. Jan 1, but that don't matter.
Biscuit making the joke I was going to make. He said Corso should just leave the mascot head on because of COVID. I was going to say he's got a mask. He's wearing a mask. You do a socially distanced set, and then he puts the mascot mask on and just leaves it on through the whole show, and he's fine. Corso, is he just on strings at this point?
That might be the sneaky thing, is wearing those dirty-ass masks with all those sweaty mascot, college students wearing that stuff before may have made him immune to it.
It's very possible. He could live to be 212. Drew, give us numbers.
How is this going to hurt Herb Street's Herb Street?
Herd Street.
Got it.
Heard.
Man, it's
heard that.
12%. Yeah, heard that. How's this going to hurt his game with the co-eds?
That ain't gonna suffer.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it.
He ain't got to worry about that.
Herb Street.
That's pandemic proof, baby.
I will say, speaking of not worrying about suffering, we got Clemson and Bama coming in at 4-3 because our favorite assholes of the South could never, ever be stopped from playing football, winning games, and talking about the program in the process. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Nick and William, they will be competing in the college football playoffs this next year, no matter what. We could see a situation where those two motherfuckers are going to be playing out there doing two-hand touch, figuring out rules with dummies and, 5 Mississippi counts on the rush. They will be playing because that's what Nick and William do. So that's why Clemson and Alabama come in at number 4 and number 3. Fuck you both.
But most importantly, neither of them think it's about the money.
It's not. It's about player safety. They're safer on campus than they are at home.
It's about these kids growing as young men.
Look, they're molding these players into men.
That's right.
That's what they're
Future
doing.
leaders of America.
That's what they're doing.
Important life lessons.
They are not using and abusing college players to get rich. They are just using college players
already rich,
to entertain
Michael.
other people.
I was going to say, neither of them is sleeping on a bed of diamonds every night while the kids...
That would be very uncomfortable, right? That would be super uncomfortable, a bed of diamonds.
When you make that much money at the expense of somebody else...
I feel like you could
because
go...
Mike, they're like really finely ground down.
Oh, okay, it's like diamond dust.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I mean, of course they make it comfortable.
That's fair. Number 2 on our top 10, the NBA bubble. Surprise showing here in our preseason top 10. But the NBA bubble, look, it's been entertaining. It's been a source of great content. It's working. The NBA bubble has all of the intangibles that you really look for. Very strong showing, lands them high in the rankings. What's going to struggle is the fact that it's going to go away here soon, and we don't know what's going to happen as the bubble starts coming back. But the NBA bubble preseason number 2, I don't know if they're going to be able to hang on to the ranking, but it's definitely a strong starting for the NBA bubble.
Look, man, as long as we get Russ and James just chopping it up, we'll be good.
We got to get some more of those
those
pool
poolside
parties.
talks,
Yeah,
right?
Pool parties. Scott.
Also, have you seen this NBA playoff bracket? It's the craziest looking ass thing with Portland and Memphis playing a 1-game series there.
I want more play-in games. I want a play-in game every year. Give me play-in games all the time.
Spoken like a true Dayton fan. Yeah, throw that
Scott, who is our number 1 in the first ever Craft Brewed Sports college football poll?
It is my distinct honor to reveal the number 1 because I have been calling this since the spring games. I knew back then that this up-and-coming freshman, there was no way that they were going to be stopped. And they're like little sisters of the poor. They'll play anyone. The only difference is they beat everyone. Hell, they've already taken out 2 of the top 5 power conferences. That is none other than COVID. COVID is your number 1 preseason ranked team, and I highly doubt that it'll lose the top spot, not even by accident. COVID will be standing there when all the dust settles and everybody else is left. COVID is your number 1 team going into this season.
I mean, COVID's going undefeated, right? There's no doubt about it. COVID is taking out everybody.
In fact, COVID might cancel the season early. So, I mean, it'll be the first champ at mid-year.
Oh, there you go. First ever champion. That's a bold claim, Scott. And you know what? I can't even argue the fact. I think you're right. I think COVID takes this title handily this year. It's going to take a massive effort for anybody to knock COVID off.
Where I'm really struggling with this, though, Scott, and again, Mike said earlier, we talked pre-show, we really aligned on these rankings and put a lot of effort into them. And then I went to Vegas and tried to find a book to take that action. Help me out, man? How do I do that? Like, how does one
Vegas
put money down
knows.
on COVID to win it all?
I would say over under Halloween season being over.
Word. All right, cool. That helps a lot, actually. I appreciate that.
There you go. The first ever Craft Brewed Sports college football top 10. We will name our own national champion, and I will petition the NCAA to recognize that national champion because they will. If you look, it'll say like AP.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how hard can that
BCS.
be, right?
No, I don't.
We
think
probably just got to fill out some forms and shit, right?
Yeah, like we could totally do this, and I know I normally say I'm going to do something and then I don't do it, but I'm going to try to figure this out to get us recognized as a college football.
If it involves
pollster.
punching Mark Emmert in the face, I'm in.
I feel like we have to pay money. Like I think that's what it's going to come down to, and I'm not going to do that.
I feel like it's different though, in the sense it's more of like Hercules deeds. Like we don't punch Mark Emmert, but we punch 5 people on behalf of him.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
So we go and like we kick Jim Harbaugh on the balls, right?
I'm out.
We go. Oh.
All right.
Don't want to kick Jim Harbaugh on the balls?
No, Scott's a
not even a
Niners
little
fan.
bit.
He loves Harbaugh. Come on.
Oh,
man.
To the end.
wait. So
Come on,
John's
bro.
the one in Michigan then?
No,
Jim.
Jim is the one in Michigan.
Jim-
What the hell, man?
Wait, time out.
12%.
All right, let's have
No.
Let's have Drew do that college football.
Let's do that college football. You don't want to kick the Michigan coaches.
No,
nuts.
because he used to coach at San Francisco, and Scott loves him.
Yes, like we've been over this.
Drink
This
responsibly.
isn't new news.
Drink
Yeah, but he's not
responsibly.
there now.
Drink responsibly.
Doesn't matter. You get a lifetime pass for what he did.